individuals, such as students or district employees, privately to the superintendent or other appropriate administrators or board members, or to communicate with the board and superintendent privately by sending an email to psdschoolboard@pennridge.org. Questions raised and not addressed may be followed up at a later time. Are there any public comments? Okay, seeing none. Next up on the agenda is our PSBA membership services presentation. Mila Hayes.
Yes, we have, thank you, Mrs. Vance Clemens. We have Mila Hayes with us tonight. She's the Member Services Manager for the Southeast Region for Pennsylvania School Boards Association. And if you remember, during the summer, we had our annual bill that was due to PSBA. And on that bill, there was a list of services that PSBA provides to the school district. And some board members had some questions about what the services are and the benefit to the district of those services. So talking to Mrs. Vance Clemens, we thought that it would be very nice to have Mila come out from PSBA after the summer was over and just have, take a little bit of time to explain what all the district receives from PSBA. So I'll give you the floor.
Well, thank you so much. It is a pleasure for me to be here with you this evening. As mentioned, I am your Member Services Manager or your Field Manager for the Southeast region. As I was sharing earlier, I have about 97 school districts in my region, including yours, so it's always a great opportunity to actually come and speak before the board and share some of the resources that already are available to you. A major part of my role is to essentially navigate you through the PSBA services, essentially. I am a resource to you. Some of the services that you already invest in. What I'd like to do this evening is kind of give you a more comprehensive view of the services you have or the services under the package you invest in. You have some handouts at your desk which highlight some of those services, certainly. And then if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer any questions you have tonight. So I'll start really quickly. There are two packages that PSBA has, membership packages that is. There's the standard and there is all access. You have all access, which certainly is a cost savings. And under all access, and I'm going to kind of go down the list, so if you see me looking down, I just want to make sure I catch everything. Under all access is you have legislative advocacy. If you notice any PSBA alerts, maybe it goes to your junk mail. They are really important because certainly they keep you updated on the legislation that is available or legislation that is going to impact your district or perhaps impact public education as a whole. So those alerts actually give you tons of information about the legislation, but then it I should say, empowers you to take action, certainly. And some of that could be just contacting your legislator, your local legislator, or meeting with your local legislators, just to talk to them about the impact on your district. So those, I come from part of my work prior to this work. I worked for a state legislator for over 8.5 years. I also served as a councilwoman in a township actually for about 6 years. I am so keenly aware of how the legislation is changing at the state level and how public education, certainly, there is a threat to public education. And so I can't encourage you enough to actually stay informed and engaged, and certainly take a look at those PSBA alerts. And if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to contact me. So we have the legislative advocacy, we have the daily edition, which comes daily electronically through email. We have the video edition, which is on Facebook, another great opportunity to hear about what's going on with PSBA, but also to hear about what's going on with the state. For instance, when the governor does his budget address, PSBA is on it probably within an hour or two, actually doing an analysis of that budget and again, how it impacts public education, but how it could impact your district. So very helpful information. You also have the judicial advocacy, another level of advocacy where we have a government affairs department who is constantly working with legislators, who are constantly interfacing with legislators to advocate for public education. And then, of course, we have the Career Gateway, which is a job posting site. We have over 300 profiles in that job posting site. So if you are, certainly it is available to you, again, under your all access, as part of the service you get. If you'd like to advertise any executive positions through our Career Gateway, you certainly can. That is another service available to you. And then, of course, the Bulletin magazine. I did bring a copy. I'm not sure if you get to see this at all. Another helpful article. I know there's tons of things you have to read, but if you have some leisure time, certainly, if you have some, I understand. These are really helpful as well. I know I try and take a look at a lot of them as well as the daily edition daily in the morning. So if you have a chance, please take a look at them. You also have the online purchasing cooperative service that's available to you. Again, it's a purchasing program that actually that offers pre-bid contracts. So it's anywhere from modular classrooms to lighting to athletic fields. Again, that is available to you under your all access. And then, of course, you have the energy procurement services. Generally, you have My PSBA member portal, which is actually new. I think we launched that last year, as a matter of fact. And it's a great opportunity to hear about what's going on in PSBA, to talk about different issues, charter schools, what have you, that certainly interest you, but also network. I don't like to say this, but it kind of fits it. It's kind of, it's a Facebook, essentially, for members only, essentially. And so just the members can actually see what's going on, can talk amongst yourself, can friend each other, can network in that setting or in that venue. And then Advocacy Day, I'm not sure if you've ever participated in Advocacy Day, if anyone's ever participated, but typically it is a great opportunity to actually meet your legislator, both your state rep as well as your state senator. It is a wonderful experience because it's a number of districts as well as the IUs. We come together and we meet with the state legislators. You are scheduled to meet with your state legislators and your state reps to talk about, hey, these are the great things going on in our district. These are the things that may be a threat to our district, some of the legislation that may be a threat to our district. And these are the challenges we might have at our district. Another great opportunity to do. It's a wonderful day at the Capitol. So I hope if you haven't had an opportunity to go, you can actually come out this year. And that's usually in April. It's one of our signature events. And then live trainings, of course, there's a number of live trainings going on, so please stay tuned in, school law, all kinds of things. There's a number of live trainings and they are available to you during the day, of course, if you work. Certainly, I understand, but certainly they are available to you as well. And then there are some online learning, which is really neat. You have this in your packet. I apologize. There it is. You have this one in your packet. This is really unique. We launched this last year as well. It is a 3-year program. These courses are topic specific, and guess what? They are convenient. Because they are about 20, some of them are 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 25 minutes, that you can actually take online. That is covered under your all access. You can take as many as you like. You actually can get a certification as a result of taking the first, if you see the first year and then the second year. And if you're a more seasoned board member, certainly you can just brush up if need be. So there are some courses available to you, for you as well. And then this one, of course, policy maintenance. I'm sure you're familiar with policy maintenance. You have, again, a very comprehensive policy maintenance service under your All Access. You get alerts on new legislation. You can actually have our policy department come out and talk to you about policy. Certainly how you can take a look at your operations manual. I'm not sure if you have administrative regulations as well. Do you have that? Yes, which is wonderful, because you actually got 15% discount once you have All Access. So you get 15% discount with the administrative regulations. Of course, which goes together with the operations policy maintenance. Then there is the board self-assessment with interpretation. This is a really neat tool, and I love talking about this one particularly. The board self-assessment, again, with interpretation, is covered under your All Access again. It is an opportunity for the board to determine how effective they are operating, essentially, and maybe to identify some things they'd like to strengthen. The board self-assessment is based on PSBA's policy governance and leadership, policy on governance and leadership, which is actually in your packet as well. It's color-coded. I'll show you. There he is. There's about 35 questions. It's very convenient to you. It's about 35 questions which are based on these principles that you answer, each of you would answer. I would then compile those results and then come out and interpret for you those results. And then maybe identify some areas you'd like to focus on. It is an excellent tool, certainly, and I encourage you to use the service as well. In talking about the board self-assessment, I can't help, and this is a separate service. This is not included under your All Access, but I have to mention this because it goes so well with the board self-assessment. We offer 2 workshops that are available to you as well. It's another resource separate from your All Access. However, what happens is, at times what you do is you end up talking about your role as a board member. A lot of these questions certainly are your blueprint, essentially as a board member. What happens is you want to start talking about maybe board goals as a result of that. We have a workshop, a board goals workshop. And so typically what happens is we can couple it with a BSA, which is under your All Access and not an additional cost. We couple it with that board goals workshop, which is an additional fee. And then the other workshop is the roles and responsibilities. It's a really comprehensive opportunity to hear about, again, school board law, board responsibility. Of course, it is an excellent workshop, very comprehensive, I should say, certainly, and it is another workshop that is available to you. And then finally, I'll just wrap it up really quickly. You, of course, get the comprehensive subscriptions, of course, under your All Access, which is the 6 additional copies of the PSBA bulletin. You get the school law information exchange, and you get the public sector as well. And then lastly, and I have to mention this, there is an annual conference in October. If you haven't had the opportunity to attend, it is a wonderful conference. Hundreds, again, of districts, administrators, superintendents, board members come out. It's a great opportunity to learn new information, but I think the piece that I've observed is that it's a great opportunity to share information, certainly in your field. And so that is in October. If you haven't registered, you certainly can. You get 15% discount again because you are All Access members. So with that, I said a lot, and I certainly can send this to you electronically so that you can actually click on each service and you can get a full detail of the different services that are available to you under All Access. So I can do that for you. No problem. Are there any questions? I know that was a lot.
Could you also highlight some of the financial savings? Because I know we get discounts on things, insurance. I know there's many things that are not coming to the tip of my tongue at the moment, but if you could highlight some of those savings also, that would be helpful. I know Board Docs is another one.
Particularly, I think I can share just around member services. Because the all access is $24.80, you get a savings of $1,500, because if you were to have the standard package and you wanted to get the board self-assessment with interpretation or the policy maintenance program, that will cost you, you can do a la carte kind of style. That will cost you about $3,249. So it's definitely a cost savings, and you're getting all of the services available to you. That's one of the services. In terms of insurance, I can't answer that question specifically, but if you pose a question to me, certainly I will take it back and get the answer for you. No problem.
Thank you. And Mr. Dolbert might be able to highlight some of that for the other board members. Just, I don't want to put you on the spot, or maybe you can get back to it, share that with us next meeting.
And if there's any additional information you need from me, I'll share that as well.
Thank you very much. So if we have any questions regarding any of the information we're getting from PSBA, you would be the point person that you would contact? Okay.
Exactly. You all have my card in those packets that I shared. It has my email, as well as my cell phone, as well as my office number.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
I'll just touch on the insurance, as you asked, just real quick. Through PSBA, they have a comprehensive insurance program. It's currently written under CM Region, but and our local brokers will, time and time again, when our local brokers go out and cost insurance programs for us, the PSBA program always comes back at a lower cost than the rest of the market, and it's because it's insurance that is tailored for school districts, written for school districts, and a large number of the districts in Pennsylvania buy into that program, and through the the network of districts throughout the state, all of us kind of pulling together, it really helps bring those costs down. PSBA has been doing that for a long time. So it's very beneficial to us.
Next up on the agenda is the review of contracts.
We have 4 contracts this month. The first is Foundation for Behavioral Health for the year of 18-19. The fees are the same as 17-18. And again, this is a renewal of the 17-18 contract. And this contract is on a need basis, as we need to have a placement for students with behavioral health needs. So we pay as we go. There's no set number of spots that we buy like some of our other special needs contracts. This one is as we need it, we pay. And there's an Appendix A which lists the different costs for the different services for the behavioral health that you can look at. The second one is Apex Learning. This is another renewal for this year of a contract from last year, and this is for our digital learning program that is run from the high school. So our students that need education through the cyber access, the digital learning access. So this is the program that Karen Hirsch uses from the high school. C is a contract for educational services for a student identified as 2019-06, and this is for a special needs student. and the cost is listed there at $36,400. And D is the Chamber Theater Productions. This is for North Middle School to go to Allentown for a field trip for the Encore 2 performance. And it's a language arts production. But they did this last year, but we're bringing it to the board because it requires a signature. And it's completely paid for by the parents and students, so there's no district funds paying for this. So that's the 4 contracts.
Any questions from board members? No? The budget calendar?
Okay, the budget calendar, we have two budget calendars for you to consider. We have the Act 1 timeline budget calendar and the non-Act 1 timeline. Act 1 came into play back in 2006, and basically Act 1 does one thing for you. If you opt into the Act 1 budget calendar, it allows you to apply for exceptions to the state to raise the real estate tax over and above the state index for that year. There's very few of those avenues for exceptions left under Act 1. They were rolled back after about 3 or 4 years of the Act 1 law being in place. One is a large increase in special education expenditures. One is a large increase in retirement expenditures from year to year. The rest, there were probably 4 or 5 other ones, and they all were rolled back and kind of taken away. There were exceptions for debt service and a number of other areas, and again, that stuff was rolled back by the state. So Act 1, if the district chooses, or if the board would say, we do not wish to raise taxes more than the index next year, then we would fall under the non-Act 1 calendar. We would pass the resolution before the date in January, which is January 21st, I believe, and say we're not going to raise taxes more than that. If we would want to raise taxes more than that Act 1 index, then we would have to prepare and approve, the board would have to approve a budget in the middle of February and then apply for those exceptions and see if the state approves them. Then after that, the board would have to approve a second budget in May and a third budget in June. So really what we're talking about here is the timing of the budget. If we thought we needed more than 2.3%, we would need to start immediately, really have the principals and department heads go through the budgeting process now and really bring you a budget in December and January for you to pass. But if we do not do that, we don't feel that we are going to need more than 2.3%, then we would go through our normal budget process, where in November, our principals or department heads start their budgeting and start to enter their information into the system. In early January and February, Dr. Bolt and I would meet with all those department heads. We would start bringing the budget to you. February, March, April, May, you would vote for the first time. In June, you would vote for the second time. And that is the process we've used since I've been here. And it seems to work very well. So it's up to the board. But in the last few years, we've had this conversation and then came back the next month and had the motion for to not exceed the index. So that's been our issue.
Okay. So are board members comfortable with making the decision that we will not raise taxes above the Act 1 index? And if that's the case, then we would vote on that either at the next board meeting or the following board meeting. Is everyone comfortable with making that commitment that we would not raise taxes more than 2.3% for the next budget? You want to go down the line?
I'm okay with that. Yes.
Yes.
I always have concerns when we have a governor's race, as we do this year. And the two candidates, the two primary candidates, have very different visions of how to fund public education. So I do have some concerns on that regard, but I think if we make that decision, we live with it, obviously.
So is that a yes or no?
Yes, it's both. No, I will vote yes for it. As I say, I have concerns simply because of the political climate that we're engaged in and, you know, the decision that will be made by the voters in November.
Okay. So, do you want to put that forward onto the next board meeting then?
Yeah, sure.
Perfect.
Yeah, sure, we can do that.
And was there anything else you wanted to add about Act 1, just that it's at 2.3?
We believe it will be at 2.3. That's what all the information we're receiving, preliminary information. It was, actually, look on my calendar, it says that it's due out September 1st. It has not come out yet. It's due out in the, published in the Pennsylvania, what's it, the Pennsylvania Register, I'm not sure what it's called, but the last register ran through a date prior to the September 1st. I think they're taking all their time. It's posted for a week prior, kind of like how payroll runs. So I think they're taking all of the days that they can, and we're expecting it to be posted this Friday, come out this Friday in that publication from the state. And from all the numbers that we know go into that calculation, we believe the PSBA has told us to believe that it'll be 2.3%. So it's going to be right in that range, you know. So which for the current year we're in now is 2.4%. So it's going to take down a tenth of a percent.
Thank you. And that brings us back to, well, did any board members have anything else, any comments, questions before we move to public comment? Okay, we're back to public comment? No? Okay, well then, we're adjourned.